So here's a quick look into the Geloso 1040, which by now has been completely rewired to the Bassman, the Tweed Bassman specs. Most of the components on that turret board have been changed, except for some coupling caps which are okay. And for the rest, everything has been rewired. I've been suffering for a few days to find the mistake in the long-tailed phase inverter, but in fact it was just a bad solder joint. So here's the tone stack. Put two 500 picofarads in series to get the 250 picofarads. The treble bleed cap on the volume control of the bright channel. That's here. Two jacks, and the grid stoppers on the inputs are 68K for the normal channel and 22K for the bright channel. For the rest, I didn't change much with regard to power transformers. They're all standard Geloso power transformers and output transformer. Best thing to do if you want to make a Bassman is to follow the reissue schematic, which is very clear and indicates voltages at different points in the circuit, so you can check what's going on. So this is the best schematic to work from. The only difference with my amp is that I don't have the 6L6s in there, but I have the EL34s in there. And my amp doesn't have the tube rectifier. I'm using a solid state rectifier, which was standard in this late 60s Geloso. It's there. I might still replace the diodes, but for now it's okay, I think. One thing I did change in the power rail of the Geloso is it had like 10K here and then 47K and again 47K in the power rail, which put the input stage at about 70-80 volts. I removed most of these resistors in the power rail and went with the 2K7 here, 10K and another 10K, and then I still get like 170 volts in the first stages, which is a lot more than the original Gelosos had. As you can see, the coil you need for the Bassman is also present in the Geloso amp, and I didn't change the negative bias circuit for the grids of the output tubes. I left it the way it was for Geloso, and this amp is now running at minus 24 volts negative bias. Here's a little scheme I drew up in order to be able to wire my long-tail pair phase inverter. And the components are actually here. This is the input capacitor. This is 1 meg. I use 7.5K. Here's the 470 ohms, and there's another 1 meg. And there's the second capacitor down there. Also, there seems to be some differences between the presence control in the old schematic, which is just a 5K pot with 100 nano across it. If you compare to the new schematic, they put a 4.7K resistor across the pot and the cap in order to keep some extra resistance and to make up for the smaller resistor here in the tail of the long-tailed pair. Still, the original Bassman runs at much higher voltages than my amp does. Not for the power section, but if you look here, 490 volts, 496 volts, 477 volts, but that's all dropped down to 300 volts here in the output stage in the phase inverter. guitar towards the amplifier that's causing most of the humming and short chord I've got. So humbucker.